yes. Nice. Oh, and a nice wee cup of tea. Oh, yes. Well, hello, and thank you for joining me here on a bit of a different video today. And I do have some very important and rather exciting news to share, but I'm not going to keep you in suspense. I'm just going to come right out and say it. This year, I will be attempting my very first 8,000 metre mountain. That's right, I'm headed back to Nepal this autumn to attempt the 8,163 metre Mount Manaslu. So I know what you're thinking, Callum, why are you making this video now and why is it important for you to share this with the YouTube community? Well, there's a few reasons really. One, I think it's really good to understand the practical context of how and why this trip came about. I also want to tell you about what that means for the channel moving forward, particularly the type of videos and content that I'm going to be releasing this year. There's also the psychological factor for myself, which means that I am now holding myself totally 100% accountable for every decision, for every action that I take moving forward. And I'm going to use that as motivation and drive for making sure that I am completely prepared for this challenge. So let's talk practically about how this all came about. In 2022, I visited Nepal for the first time to climb a mountain called Mira, which hopefully you've maybe watched on my channel. And I had an absolutely amazing time, but it wasn't my first experience of high altitude. My first experience of high altitude was in 2018 when I climbed Kilimanjaro. And that's when, quite honestly, I just sort of got infatuated with the idea of climbing higher and higher. Now, obviously I live in Scotland, and while we're blessed with really, really beautiful mountains, they're not the biggest mountains in the world. And I have been on this personal quest to really test myself in the mountains and to find out what I am truly capable of. So yeah, I guess the big question is why an 8,000 metre mountain and why now? I did think about the steps to get to an 8,000 metre mountain, and I did a bit of research. I spoke to a lot of people, and in particular I spoke to the Nepalese operators who I was interested in doing another trip with. Now, the original view was to potentially climb a 7,000 metre mountain in Nepal. After having conversations with some very, very knowledgeable and informed people, it became quite apparent quite quickly that my goals and everything that I would learn climbing a 7,000 metre mountain, I could do and learn climbing an 8,000 metre peak. And then when you start weighing up the sort of cost comparisons, it really isn't a great deal of difference climbing a big 7,500 metre mountain, for example, to climbing one of the smaller 8,000 metre mountains. So that's sort of how it came about. Really, it's to do with finances, and quite honestly, I've got to an age now where I really feel like I'm ready for this type of challenge and to see exactly what I am capable of. And before we talk about what that means for the channel and for the type of videos that I'm going to be putting out this year, I just want to talk about the psychological reasons for producing this particular video. Now, for a long time, I've had this idea in my own head, and I've spoken to a few people, but I've not made it like publicly known that this is my like wider ambitions, and I haven't broadcast it. Particularly, I've never broadcast it on my YouTube platform to the community of subscribers that I'm very, very lucky to have. So yeah, this is my way of holding myself completely accountable, because if I put it out into the world, people know about it, and therefore I will feel more inclined to give everything that I have to making sure that I achieve this. That's the way my brain sort of thinks about it. So yeah, it's a little bit of making sure that I'm accountable for my own actions, and yeah, sharing that journey with everyone as well. I'm just really excited. The other thing that I've found in my research is that there isn't a lot of videos and there isn't a lot of information readily available. And I mean specifically, like, how do you prepare and how do you climb 8,000 meter mountains? There's so much information, there's so much niche knowledge that you need, and actually being able to find that has been somewhat difficult. So therefore, I'm hopefully going to share all of these intricacies, all of the nuance, all of the things that people aren't actively and readily making available to people. So yeah, that's my hope, is that I can share some really useful, some really interesting information, as well as my own experiences. And then there's the big question, what does that actually mean for this channel moving forward? Well, as well as my regular adventures here in Scotland on Munros and on Corbetts and on, you know, everything in between, I'm also going to be documenting my journey to Manaslu. Now, I don't have like a fancy series name, I don't have anything, you know, really prepared, other than I'm just going to document as much as I can and share that with as many people as possible. What I think it might look like, I think there will be training updates. Now, whether that's monthly or I'm not sure it'll be weekly, but or I don't know, every couple of months. I'm not 100% sure of what that schedule might look like, but what I do want to do is really shine a light and focus on the type of training that I'm going to do to make sure that I am prepared the best I can. I think there's also going to be really interesting videos about how you practically prepare for an 8,000 meter mountain, and we'll look at specifics like how do you choose a high altitude down suit? How do you choose, you know, big triple boots? And how do you make sure that you have the right equipment? You know, how do you have a fixed line kit that works in the way that you think it's going to work? There's all these sort of questions that I've been asking myself, certainly over the past number of years, that there's just no content and no information readily available. So yeah, hopefully I can share some of that. But I'm super excited. I am really looking forward to documenting my journey for the rest of this year, and yeah, sharing that with, you know, the wonderful people that tune into my videos, and hopefully it's interesting, and hopefully you get a bit of entertainment and some useful information out of it. But yeah, that's what I wanted to come on and say. So thank you so much. As I said, this is a bit of a different video, and I really appreciate every single person that will hopefully have watched this long, and yeah, hopefully you can join me on this incredible journey over the next year. Cheers.